because I feel for screening in, the narration plays a very important role. Like I would say 70% of the selection happens based on how you narrate your story, SSB. Because in my previous attempts, I was not able to clear just because I was being very honest, very much truthful. So yes, they do ask tricky questions, like particularly about your girlfriend and whether they actually try to make you a bit uncomfortable. So this is the answer that I would like to give to all NCC cadets, those who are preparing for SSB interviews. What I feel is that precisely I'll tell you a few examples how these qualities are reflected by doing particular hobby. Now, if you certainly this is a very important question that you have asked, Sheetal. Why? Because this happens with every aspirant.
Hello friends, welcome back to Defense Treasure and I hope you're doing good. I'm Sheetal Yadav and today interview is very special because the guest we are having is Krishna. He got recommended from 5 AFSB Guwahati and he's All India rank 102 and he's here to share his experience regarding his SSB journey and tips and tricks and various myths जो candidates को होते हैं. So he's here to help the candidates who are preparing for SSB as well as the written. So let's welcome him and learn from his experience. Hello Krishna, welcome to Defense Treasure and I'm very glad you came to this platform to share your knowledge. And I want to congratulate you for your selection and becoming All India rank 102 and finally going to Air Force Academy. I want to know how does it feel like to live your dream come true?
Firstly, thank you very much, Sheetal, for having me for this interview. How do I say this? It's a dream come true indeed for me. So I feel that I'm really excited for my journey. That is, I consider it the second phase of my life. So yeah, it's really exciting as well as heartwarming for me.
Okay, Krishna, what would you like to introduce yourself to the aspirants who is watching this video?
All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Krishna Mondal. I hail from the state of West Bengal, and I've done my schooling from Kendra Vidyalaya Baliganj, and thereafter I've done my graduation in BSc Computer Science from Shomilani Mahavidyalaya, and thereafter currently I am pursuing Masters in Computer Science from University of Calcutta. So, apart from all these academic qualifications, I am a sports enthusiast, and I've also done my NCC from Air Wing NCC from number 4 West Bengal Technical Air Squadron NCC, which is in Jadavpur University. I have represented my directorate at All India Vayu Sainik Camp, and I have also done local Republic Day camp, apart from various social activities that I keep doing with my friends and course mates. So this was my brief introduction. And yes, I have appeared for ND exam, CDS as well as AFCAT, where I have got recommendation in my AFCAT attempt. So that is it.
So Krishna, how did the inspiration of joining armed forces came about? As I know you, nobody in your family is from a military background. So I want to know about this.
Basically, not anyone, but yes, my maternal uncle is serving in the Indian Army right now. Is a Subedar Major, and he was my primary inspiration when I used to visit his his camp during our holidays. So and summer break, we used to visit his camp areas. So there I got really motivated by the lifestyle that is there in the armed forces. The environment which is there inside a cantonment or any military area really fascinates me. The disciplined way of life and everything around it really enthralled me to join the armed forces. And from the very beginning, since I've done my schooling from Kendra Vidyalaya, so that's inside a army camp, Baliganj military camp. So I have seen various officers and the army people over there. So there I got the motivation to join the armed forces basically.
Okay. So Krishna, does it influence your choice of preferences that you have chosen in 12th and graduation?
Well, precisely at first I was into joining army only.
Okay.
But since I had interest in mathematics and computer science, so I chose this computer science stream, and I really found interest in this particular area, and I feel that technology is something which is going to impact our country, not only our country, our entire globe in a very drastic way.
Exactly.
So if we have to make a change, we have to do it either technologically or diplomatically is always there. So I feel computer science was the main turning point. And as since I had interest in science also, so I pursued computer science as BSc in my graduation also. And yes, I actually I want to continue about this. Key my motivation little bit changed towards Air Force, particularly when I joined Air Wing NCC. So
Right.
so thereafter I started appearing for AFCATs and all other Air Force entries.
Okay. So Krishna, as far as I know, you gave 6 NDA written attempts, and you would be able to clear only once, and thereafter you were able to clear CDS as well as AFCAT with 200 plus marks. So how did you strategize your written examination preparation?
Well, to start off with written preparations, I feel the first thing that a candidate or rather an aspirant should be doing is to know the syllabus, which is very important. So at first, the reason for my failures being that I wasn't very abreast with the syllabus of the exams, and neither did I used to practice mock tests. So all this I came to know after completing my graduation. These are the strategies that everyone should follow. Like there are certain thresholds that you need to maintain in order to clear any particular written exam. So I feel knowing the syllabus first and then going over the topics, and once you feel that yes you are ready to take any mock attempt, you should appear for plenty of mock tests, because I feel mock test helps you to build up the confidence of how the written exam is going to happen. So thereafter, I feel if you if you solve previous year questions and give mocks, and along with study the separate topics as you need, you would be able to clear your written exams quite well. And to talk about how much time I used to spare for studying, not like it was a long journey. So I kept studying. I started my studying right when I was in the final year of my graduation. So like I used to manage both my graduation studies, my NCC studies, as well as the studies for my defense exams. So precisely 3 hours, you can say, 3 hours is more than enough for this competitive exams, I feel.
ओके सो कृष्णा, अब एसएसबी के बारे में बात करते हैं. इनिशियली जब आप एसएसबी में गए, योर फर्स्ट एसएसबी, यू गॉट स्क्रीन्ड आउट, बट देयर आफ्टर on the upcoming SSB, you were easily be able to clear your screening part specifically. So what are the mistakes you committed in your first attempt, as well as how did you introspected it, and how did you manage to get screening in the later attempts?
All right. So, Sheetal, very basically, what I found out after getting screened out from 18 SSB Allahabad, I realized that my narration was not so good. I had plenty of mistakes that I was committing. I was nervous. I had stage fear, and there were plenty of reasons to add on to. So I felt I really need to, bring in more composure. I need to bring in more confidence, and my narration should be flawless. Because I feel for screening in, the narration plays a very important role. Like I would say 70% of the selection happens based on how you narrate your story. So I started focusing on narrating, and I used to deliver lectures. I should take part in debate competitions, extempos, and plenty of places wherever I got the opportunity to speak something. I used to take the mic and I used to speak about anything that would come to my mind. So I feel, and apart from it, I feel doing mirror talk helped me a lot. I used to practice mirror talk for like almost 5 to 6 minutes every single day. Okay. So that helped me to boost my confidence, and I was able to introspect my flaws in that particular way.
Okay. तो अब अगर हम साइकोलॉजी के बारे में बात करें, तो साइकोलॉजी इज वेरी ट्रिकी बिकॉज देयर आर टाइम कॉन्स्ट्रेंट्स, एंड आई वांट टू नो हाउ डिड यू स्ट्रेटेजाइज योर साइकोलॉजिकल पार्ट, बिकॉज देयर आर टैट, वेट, एसआरटी, एसटी. तो उस हर चीज के अंदर देयर नीड टू बी वी नीड टू मेक अ डिफरेंट स्ट्रैटेजी. सो आई वांट टू नो हाउ डिड यू स्ट्रेटेजाइज स्पेसिफिकली साइकोलॉजिकल पार्ट.
Firstly, I would like to clarify a rumor over here. What I felt after giving plenty of SSB attempts, I feel that SSB is not any extraordinary personality test. It's more of how you yeah, definitely your performance matter on that particular 5 days that you are staying over there. But apart from it, the basic personality that you bear, that that somewhere gets reflected in some way or the other. So it's more of the actions that you do on a daily basis. uh, Suppose in case you are traveling to your college or to your office and suddenly one of your like passenger meets with an accident, what would you do? So it's just like the situations that we face on a very daily basis. Yes, you need to prepare for the TATs, WTs and SRTs definitely. So what I did was, during the time of the pandemic, I used to uh, do plenty of TATs. We used to write stories along with my NCC juniors and course mates, and we used to do the psych tests, then all other tests that are there. We used to do it, like we used to practice from various apps and YouTube's videos. So I think that helped me a lot.
Okay, so can you name some sources? As you mentioned, there were sources online.
Right. The best app that I found for practicing SSB was Target SSB app. I think they have the psych tests, entire psychological test. Then they have GTO lecturate topics. Then I think they also have GP and all other tests that are there. The probable interview questions and the CIQs that are also there in the app. So that's a good app. And apart from it, you will get plenty of videos from various coaching institutes. They upload their own this psychological test series and etc. 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 So you can practice from there.
Okay.
So YouTube is an open source.
And that is definitely. So, Krishna, let's move to the interview part. Interview is very interesting because they drill you to the next level. They ask you plenty of questions, and her question ke they need two to three reasons, right? And sometimes they give a rapid fire also. So there you need a lot of introspection, as well as if I talk about, you need to analyze yourself and you need to be prepared for those kind of questions. So how did you prepare those questions specifically?
Well, for the interview part, I feel interview was a main, challenging part for my SSB, because in my previous attempts I was not able to clear just because I was being very honest, very much truthful in the interview. That is not required. I found out that what SSB basically looks after is that how well you are able to, show yourself, like what exactly you are.
Okay.
And yes, it's not like that you have to be 100% truthful. You need to be 100%, honest in nature. Yeah, you should be honest and truthful in your interview, but you should know how much you should be revealing about your personal life. Okay, so yeah, what I mean to say is that you need to be a bit diplomatic with certain questions, and you should know how to avoid those questions, like into your interview. So precisely what I would like to say is that I used to prepare interview just by doing mirror talk, and I used to ask question to myself. If I ask this particular questions, what would be my answer? And for the rapid fire questions, what I used to do is that I used to write down the probable CIQ questions that the interviewing officer can ask from education sector or from this family or hobbies or from any other portions. I used to write the questions down, and then in front of the mirror I used to answer them. And apart from it, I have taken plenty of coaching also. I won't hide this, because I feel without coaching it would have become a bit difficult for me. So yes, I took mentorship from a few of my instructors and commanding officers also. So they helped me a lot, and that is how I was able to come about the interview.
Okay. So interview में बहुत सारे tricky questions भी पूछते हैं, and sometimes they ask uncomfortable question. So did this situation happen with you during the interview?
Yes, it happened twice, as far as I can recall, in Gandhinagar and in Varanasi. So yes, they do ask tricky questions, like particularly about your girlfriend and whether they actually try to make you a bit uncomfortable. If they feel that you have good composure and you're not getting nervous at any point, they try to strike your uh, like they want to put you under stress.
Right.
And they want to see how you perform under stress, whether you are getting anxious or not, whether you are suddenly you have started to become friendly or not. So these are small little, tactics that the interviewing officer usually they use to, put you under a stressful situation to get the answer. So yes, I would say ki yes, as I told you earlier, that you should know how much to reveal about your personal secrecy. And I would say it's better if you avoid the girlfriend wala question. It's not key. Even if you have it, then you should be telling it. Yeah, that's all right. But somewhere I feel ki they tend to attach emotional bonding once you have a girlfriend or your partner. It's quite obvious that if you have your partner, then you would have some kind of emotional dependency on him or her. So that is why I feel that it's safe if you avoid that particular question. And any other question, like they might ask you to solve a riddle instantly, or they might say, ki, suppose, Krishna, I'm coming from Bangalore to Calcutta, and the speed of the train is so and so kilometer per hour. So how much time will it take to reach to Calcutta? So that out of a suddenly you start calculating your things. So these are some of the common things that you would face in interview. It's very common thing. And the main important part is that you should retain your composure and answer it, taking adequate time as you feel like. So there is no hurry.
So Krishna, talking about GTO now, GTO के अंदर 9 tasks होते हैं and you cannot perform all 9 tasks gracefully because you are going to face some way or the other some challenges. So please comment on the GTO part.
I feel GTO tasks are designed in such a way. I'm talking about the obstacles and the PGTs, SGTs, etc., etc. The obstacles are designed in such a way to, to find out how much creative, how much imaginative you are, and how much practical you are with the real life scenarios. Right. So I feel if you do certain things at home, if you are indulged into some kind of physical activities at home or elsewhere, you would be able to understand whether the bridging a particular obstacle would be practical enough to cross it or not. So there are only 2 concepts that are basically used in PGTs, HGTs, FGTs, and command task. Those are the concept of fulcrum and cantilever. So I think everyone can Google them out and find out what they are actually. And if I talk about group discussions and group planning exercises, again, your practicality, your ability to reason properly and think logically, whether the plan would be feasible or not. I'm talking about GP, basic precisely. So all these things end up key whether you are able to show your skills and qualities in the way that is desired. Like it's just a normal perception key. If you do certain things in the right way, you would be able to achieve your targets. ऐसा नहीं कि you are becoming a superhero out of somewhere and saying कि मैं उसको airlift करके यहाँ भेज दूँगा वहाँ भेज दूँगा. So these ideas don't work. Yeah. So you need to be very much practical and yeah, it should be logical enough. And talking about group discussions, I feel if you have a reasonable amount of knowledge about what's going on around in the world and what's going on around you in our country. Okay. So if you follow newspaper daily and if you apprise yourself with the current affairs, you would be able to participate in the group discussions quite precisely. Your physical fitness also matters in GTO in performing individual obstacles and snake race. Right. And I think these 2 obstacles are there. So you should do certain physical fitness like push-ups, pull-ups and running regularly. And yes, you can also do swimming and other sports that you might play. So where it requires a greater level of endurance. So I feel the individual obstacles tests our endurance along with the qualities that are required.
So Krishna, you have done NCC. So you must be having known written entries for SSB. So my question is, why did you choose to prepare for written entries like CDS and AFCAT?
Okay, so this is the answer that I would like to give to all NCC cadets, those who are preparing for SSB interviews. What I feel is that, the entries are there, like the NCC special entry for Air Wing cadets, for Army Wing cadets, for OTA. These entries are obviously there. But I feel these entries should not be taken into serious consideration. Why? Because the uh, the total reporting of the candidates, those who come for these particular direct entries, is quite much, like approximately around 300 to 400, out of which only 20 to 25 candidates get screened in. So what I feel is that these entries are not so good for getting recommended. You might have this opportunity to go for SSB, but very a few chances are there that you might get recommended from those particular entries. And I feel the assessors, like precisely the psychologists, the interviewing officers, and the GTO, they see you in a different perspective once you clear any particular written exam and come for the SSB interview. But in case you are coming for the direct entry, then they would expect a higher amount of knowledge from you, as since you haven't cleared any written examination. You have just come for the interview because you got the opportunity. So I feel to put a good impression and also to secure better chances of getting recommended, it is said you should go for the written entry attempts instead of the direct entries. So that is the basic answer actually.
So Krishna, as far as I know you, you are involved in a lot of physical activities. You have hobbies like horse riding, cycling, and reading books. Apart from that, you write also. So does these hobbies help you in SSB?
Well, I would say all hobbies help us in some or the other way to to shape our personality to those OLQs that are required. So I feel hobbies have a very good impact on our personality. Why? Because the way we cultivate those hobbies into our personality, into our mind, in that particular way, we are able to hone our skills for those qualities. Precisely, I'll tell you a few examples how these qualities are reflected by doing particular hobby. Now, it is said that you should read anything, be it any books or any magazines, newspapers. It can be anything. Reading should be a hobby for every defense aspirant. And why this is so important? Because reading not only improves your composure, it also improves your patience as well as your ability to understand things. Once you start reading books and passages, you get to know of the perspective of any particular topic. It can be any general topic, it can be any political topic. Still, you get a viewpoint of that particular thing. Like basically, it enhances your knowledge. So reading anything enhances your knowledge. Now, if you start playing chess or any kind of puzzles, what happens is that you are able to hone your problem solving skills. You are able to think more logically. You would understand which is the right step for you to choose, and what should be your backup step in case you get caught in the middle of a nowhere situation. So these particular hobbies help us in various other ways. And if I talk about having playing any sport, like I do cycling, I also had badminton once upon a time as my hobby. I used to do swimming also. So these physical exercises, being into any physical exercises, improves your determination factor, encourages you to push your limits, and you are able to perfect. Like what basically happens is that you are committed into following a sport. So once you have this commitment, you are tend to become more disciplined in life. So I feel having the right hobbies helps you to helps you to shape your personality in a better way. And I would say that many people or many aspirants, I've heard many aspirants saying that browsing internet is their hobby or playing video games is their hobby. Yeah, that's all right. That might be a hobby. Even I too play video games. That is also required for improving your instincts, and various other qualities are also there. But see, if you follow them very passionately, you tend to get addicted to those things. And if I say very candidly, I would say that internet in today's day is not so good because there is widespread fake news. And unless you judge those things, yeah, there are both pros and cons of internet. So what I would basically say is that you should be matured enough to browse the internet, because if you browse internet, then you should have valid reasons to say ki what exactly you browse. You might say you browse Wikipedia to search for any content, or you go through YouTube videos for your SSB preparation, or it can be anything.
Okay.
So I feel having good hobbies helps us to inculcate our the OLQs, I would say.
Required. Okay. So
Right.
during discussing this interview, I came across that friendship has played a vital role in the preparation for SSB, also in becoming a better person. So how did friendship help you in molding your personality?
Actually, there's a saying, ki charity begins at home.
Okay.
And the moral values and the ethics that you learn right from your childhood, it basically happens from your parents as well as the schooling, like the teachers and the friends that those who are around you. So once we start growing up, and things certainly change, because then the environment starts, influencing your personality and your mindset also. So having good company around you matters a lot, because in today's world, fake friends are plenty, but the real friends, those who are like, when you are in need, your friends would definitely show up for you. So it can be anything. It can be having some kind of emotional help. It can be having some physical kind of help. So having real good friends, those on whom you can rely on quite comfortably, that is very important. And yes, your friends, having friends with whom you can discuss about various things about life, about various perspectives, about how to address your failures. Your friend not only अपने अच्छा दोस्त कभी शाबाशी नहीं देता है, वो तुम्हें अपने फ्लॉज भी बताते हैं जिससे कि तुम उसको इम्प्रूव कर सको. So having good friends, did matter to me a lot, and I feel SSB also looks forward to this. Especially want that you should have good company of friends, because after joining the academy and in Forge, you will only have your friends, not your parents, not your family members. So your friends will be everything, and only on them you would be relying on. So having good company matters a lot. That is all I would say.
Okay. So Krishna, you got recommended in your 4th attempt. There are times you feel low, and what kept you motivated for going on for preparations for AFCAT, for Air Force and Army? Because at times you feel low and you feel like giving up. So who was your inspiration? And I need to know your motivation factor.
Certainly, this is a very important question that you have asked, Sheetal. Why? Because this happens with every aspirant, and no matter whether they are preparing for SSB interview or for civil services or for any other examination.
Right.
At this stage, the stage that we are going through is very crucial for us to build our career. And I feel getting depressed, having anxieties about what will happen with your life if you're not able to achieve your dreams. So these thoughts will definitely come to your mind. And it's quite natural that there's something called inferiority complexion and something called superiority complexion.
Right.
So these are all parts of psychology. And yes, once you start getting deeper into SSB, you would also realize there are things of psychology that enthralls you. Like, I have got interest into psychology just because I've been preparing for SSB. So what basically I was saying is that you would feel inferior at times, you would feel superior at times based on the people around you. Exactly. This is quite natural. Now, how to overcome this situation is very important, because that is where most of us get backed off. At times we think that after 5-6 attempts of failure, we feel that we are not able to do it, or whether we won't be able to do it. Right. So then we think we should go for our backup plan, or we should opt for some other career options. But that is the point where we should never give up actually. Jab tak hamare paas chances hai, like the age till we are able to apply for the officer's entry or whatsoever entry that we are going for, we should try for that. Yes, if you feel ki you should start earning at an early age, then definitely you should go for any other profession. Definitely you can join IT companies. There are plenty of works that you can do, and simultaneously you should be into this particular SSB wala thing. Like, you should have your mindset ki mere ko fauj mein hi jana hai. So this is the determination that is required. Like, it I would say it is 50% self-calling. Like it should be within you. The jigra should be within you कि मेरे को करना ही है. And at times when you get low, you start doubting your capabilities, you start doubting your everything. Then I feel the role of your parents, your friends, your closed ones matter a lot. Like if they are able to pump in some positive motivation inside you, then definitely you would be able to succeed no matter what. And to tell you a real life scenario, I had plenty of depressing moments also, and that is why I told that having good company matters to you a lot. And that is where my friends actually came in for my help, and I got recommended. So that is how the thing works.
What are you learning from your previous attempts? Since you have a lot of experience from SSB and even including your written, so what are you learning from your previous attempts?
Things that I've learned from my previous SSB attempts is precisely first is never give up attitude.
Okay.
Why? Because after so many written attempts and so many SSB interviews, they try to see what's the level of your patience, what's the level of your determination that you have in order to, seek your dream.
Okay.
So you should have this never give up attitude always with you, no matter whichever career profession you are going for. And the second thing that I've learned is the act of self-introspection. I feel there are plenty of candidates those who go for SSB interview, and of which only a handful of candidates they are able to clear. So the basic difference that lies between a candidate who has got recommended and the candidate who couldn't clear the SSB was just because of the lack of self-introspection. Many candidates, they just go casually just to check ki kya ho raha hai, and they don't introspect their previous attempts. I feel if you introspect yourself, your previous attempts or your previous failures, you would be able to understand where I went wrong and what are the things that they are asking. Like armed forces is also a career profession, right? Just like any other career profession. So there are certain qualities, there are certain skills that they are asking for. So if you meet this criteria, you would be able to clear the interview. Otherwise, you won't. So the introspection part plays a very key role to determine whether we are able to go through this process or not. So this was second. Third important factor that I've learned is having good hobbies. Like the act of hobbies, how those hobbies are helping you to, develop your qualities.
Okay.
So these are basically the three broad things that I've understood. And as far as I remember a word from a deputy president at For AFSB Varanasi. He told during his speech, he do the right thing, not only for the sake of SSB, but it is the right thing to be done. What basically he meant is that don't do things just for the sake of SSB. Do things just to just to ensure that you are a better human being.
Okay.
So just try to evolve your personality in that particular way. So that is what I would say.
Since Krishna, you got recommended from 5 AFSB Guwahati, and you have exposure of other AFSBs also, like Varanasi, Mysuru, and Gandhinagar. And aspirants are very much concerned in choosing their centers. Does it impact your recommendation, choosing a particular center?
Well, there is nothing as such because all the selection process is the same for all SSBs and AFSBs and NSBs. Why do I say so? The only difference is the screening in rate might be a bit different for the different boards. It particularly depends on the capacity of individual boards, how many candidates they are able to accommodate, and accordingly they take the number of candidates. For instance, I'll give you an example. Guwahati is a very small board, and it started operating as recently as 2021.
Okay.
So the strength of the board is 60, out of which approximately around 50 candidates they report, and of which around 24-25 gets screened in. Okay. So the selection rate is around 50%. Selection rate in the sense screening in rate is around 50%. And if I compare any other bigger board, just like Varanasi, Gandhinagar or Mysore, there the capacity is 200, of which around 180 to 200 candidates come for for screening in,
Right.
and of which the screening in candidates are approximately around, you say, 60,
Mm-hmm.
50 to 60.
Right.
So you see the
Difference.
difference is around 1/3 or 33% to be more precise.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a vast difference that comes in. So if you go for Guwahati, your chances of getting screened in would be higher.
Yeah.
That is the main difference. Otherwise, the selection process is the same. So there is no change at all.
No change in the selection process. So we are coming to an end. My last question to you is any recommendation to the candidates who are watching this video who are preparing for CDS, AFCAT or SSBs? So yeah, please go ahead.
Well, the only thing I would tell to all aspirants is that never lose hope and never give up. And you should start working hard as well as smart. Why do I say smart? Because an officer is smart always. Okay, so you need to find out the smartest way of, working things. So yes, you should work hard for your goals and your ambitions. You should be dedicated enough. You should be determined enough to accomplish them. And yes, in the meantime, if you feel disappointed, if you feel disheartened, if you have some inferiority complexion, then you should take a break, and you should have that never give up attitude कि ठीक है थोड़ा time ले लेता हूँ, and then you should come back again on track. So that is all I would say. All the very best to all the aspirants, those who are appearing. So
thank you so much for joining us for this session, Krishna. And I hope this video is going to help a lot of candidates and they are going to overcome a lot of myth regarding SSBs and AFSB as well as the written. So thank you so much for your time so that we could conduct this session.
thank you, Sheetal. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you so much for watching the video, and let me know in the comment section below if you have any doubts and what kind of content you want in the upcoming videos. Keep supporting, keep showing your love. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.